Look at this map. Look at it. Every single country on it is about to declare war on every other country, and nobody will agree on why. It's 1914. Europe is basically a giant room full of people who hate each other but have promised to fight anyone who fights their friends. Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy have a pact. France, Russia, and Britain have a pact. Everyone is basically one bad Tuesday away from catastrophe. But before we get to the shooting, we have to talk about Archduke Franz Ferdinand, who is heir to Austria-Hungary and also the unluckiest man alive. Franz decides to visit Sarajevo, which, fine. But Sarajevo is full of Serbian nationalists who would very much like him dead, so great plan. And sure enough, there are 6 assassins waiting in the crowd, armed and ready, but the first one throws a bomb and it bounces off. Franz survives, goes to the hospital to check on the wounded, and his driver takes a wrong turn and stalls the engine. The assassin Gavrilo Princip cannot believe his luck, shoots Franz twice, and basically starts World War I by accident while getting a snack. Franz Ferdinand is dead, which enrages Austria-Hungary, who decides this is Serbia's fault and sends Serbia a list of demands, so humiliating it's basically a dare. Serbia agrees to almost everything, which should end it there. But Austria-Hungary is pissed and declares war anyway because diplomacy is for quitters. Now here's where the alliance system kicks in. Russia goes, Serbia's my friend, and starts mobilizing, which Germany notices immediately. Germany goes to Austria-Hungary and goes, hey, we're gonna back you up. You cool? And Austria-Hungary says, oh absolutely, which is called the blank check. Germany also has a war plan called the Schlieffen Plan, which involves invading France by going through Belgium first, which matters. Belgium is neutral. Germany invades Belgium anyway, which drags in Britain, because Britain had promised to protect Belgium back in 1839, and apparently they wrote that down somewhere. And basically within 6 days of the shooting, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Russia, France, Britain, and Serbia are all at war, and nobody can quite remember why. Germany's Schlieffen Plan calls for knocking France out in 6 weeks, then turning around to fight Russia. Quick, clean, and absolutely does not work. France does not get knocked out in 6 weeks. Both sides dig trenches instead, and the Western Front becomes roughly 400 miles of misery. Meanwhile, on the Eastern Front, Russia charges into Germany and Austria-Hungary with a giant army that is, unfortunately, extremely badly supplied. Germany crushes Russia at the Battle of Tannenberg, encircles an entire army, and the Russian commander literally dies of stress after. Back on the Western Front, everyone tries a big offensive. It fails terribly, and they go back to sitting in their trenches for 4 years. New weapons appear to try to break the deadlock. Poison gas, tanks, flamethrowers, and airplanes, each making things exactly as terrible in a new way. The Battle of the Somme. Britain fires 1 million shells at German trenches for a week, assumes everyone inside is dead, sends the infantry over. They are not dead. The Somme kills or wounds over 1 million men, and Britain gains about 6 miles, the distance you'd walk for a coffee. Meanwhile, Germany decides to strangle Britain with submarine warfare, sinking any ship near Britain, including the Lusitania, which has Americans on it. Americans are furious but stay out of the war for now, mostly because President Wilson wins re-election on "he kept us out of the war." Then Germany sends Mexico a telegram secretly offering them Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona back if Mexico attacks the USA. Britain intercepts the telegram, shows it to America, and America decides, fine, we're in, and enters the war in April 1917. Meanwhile, Russia is having an absolutely terrible time. Revolution breaks out. Tsar Nicholas gets overthrown, and Russia signs a peace and leaves. Germany now shifts everything west for one final massive push. In 1918, the Spring Offensive, hoping to win before the Americans fully show up. The Spring Offensive gains ground, getting very close to Paris, which freaks everyone out. But the Allies hold on as the Americans flood in. Germany's army runs out of men, food, and morale, basically all three at the same time. Germany's allies start collapsing. Austria-Hungary basically dissolves overnight and sends a postcard about it. The Kaiser gets told the war is lost. He abdicates and flees. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, the guns stop, the armistice is signed, and the war is over. The Treaty of Versailles blames the whole thing on Germany, makes them pay for everything, and humiliates them so badly. A very angry young Austrian is quietly taking notes. World War I kills 20 million people, reshapes every border, and ends for empires. And that angry young Austrian with the notepad. He decides the real problem is that Germany didn't win, and starts planning something else.